Social engineering principles and social media. You're probably asking yourself, what am I trying to get at here? Well, social engineering has been around since the beginning of time, since people could lie to each other, right? So we're going to talk about what is the social engineering and how does it deal with your social media, online, your presence. So basically, social engineering is a way to convince you to do something that you don't want to do through coercion or deception, right? So you're basically lying to somebody, telling, hey, I'm really cool. You know, I love it when you go to, they have these dating sites, not that I go to dating sites, but they have dating sites, and the picture that people post on there, from what I understand, because I've never been to one, but from what I understand is they're not the same. A buddy of mine does go to one. He's on the dating website, and he's much younger than me. And he says, yeah, the pictures don't usually match up to what the person looks like. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of sometimes, right? We're all that way. I don't want to put a picture on there that looks like that's a picture of me when I got up out of the morning. I want to do a picture that's all groomed, shower taken, hair combed, right? You want to put your best foot forward. So social engineering is that we basically are things out there trying to get you to do something through coercion or deception, deceiving people that, yeah, this is what I really look like all the time. Nah, not so much, right? It's supremely successful because of our culture, especially in the United States. In the United States, we're a very trusting group of people in most cases. And if some people, especially if you're from here, say something, most of us kind of think that they're telling the truth. But understand, most people, especially in social media, are stretching the truth at times. I shouldn't say most. That's not the right word. Many are stretching the truth most of the time. Okay? So who are the primarily targeted and the methods of this being associated? So there's basically different groups that we're dealing with here. So you have young people, teens, right? They're of high risk is what I consider them. They share everything, but they don't understand the technology at all. I mean, they get the technology from a high level point of view because they use it all the time, but they don't understand the risk behind using the technology. An example of that would be cyberbullying. We talked to some people. There was actually a young lady that committed suicide not too long ago because of things that were posted on Facebook. And it happens, right? Because these people say mean, horrible things that are not true, but people take them as if they are true, or their self-image can't handle them. So what do? Well, they think the whole world knows about it, and so they have to do something about it, and they end up doing something unfortunate, such as taking their own life. And that's just terrible. But yet, we think that because it's gateway to the world that everybody on there is saying something that's potentially true about me. They're not, right? So we have to understand that those people like the teens, they're targeted because of the thought process around who I am and what I'm all about and what I'm trying to make my place in the world. And a lot of it's through social exposure. So they ostracize you and they will make fun of you. And then they get a team of them that will roll in on you. And then you think the whole world thinks this of you, which isn't true at all, right? So it's just really bad. Sexually exploited as well. So a lot of times these kids are sexually exploited, either one through coercion, going, well, hey, if you say anything and you don't do what I want you to do, I'm going to expose you to the world. Or they get them into the situation where they slowly get knowing somebody who they think is maybe somebody their age or think is a person that cares for them, and they end up doing something they wish they wouldn't have done. And the problem is all that stuff is out there forever. It doesn't go away. It's out there forever, and it keeps coming back around over and over and over. The 20-somethings, they share everything, and they're willing to accept privacy loss, whereas the young people don't really know what privacy is, and they don't really care because they just want to do it. But the 20 and 30-somethings, they really are big into sharing everything. They're big into social interaction with their friends. They have small children, and they have financial or they lack finances in this age group, right? Because they're just getting their feet underneath them. So how are they a good target? Well, they have children, right? So that's how they're a good target. They do a lot of social interaction with their friends, but they have a small subset of friends that they're pretty close to. And if you can get in that inner circle, now you're in like Flynn, right? You can get in, and that's awesome. If they're financially, maybe they're not in a financial place where they want to be right now, they're more apt to take on some level of financial bait, per se. Hey, you know what? You want to pay off all your debt tomorrow? You can do that. Just do yada, 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 yada. Do this and that, whatever. Those are the kind of people that get targeted because they are more, that's what they're looking for. So they are looking for that. The 30 to 60-year-old bucket, where I kind of fall into, their more targeted approach would be needed for these people. In many cases, job-related emails are a bit more effective with them. So because, one, they're going 100 miles an hour and they don't really pay much attention to what's going on other than their kids and their family, you got to be a little bit more right in their face. Just the drive-by of going, hey, you want to get rich, isn't quite as effective as something more targeted, or more targeted towards children or grandchildren. That's very effective. Financial is not really short-term financials, like, hey, you want to get rich tomorrow. It's more, are you prepared for retirement? Which none of us are prepared for retirement, right? That's the key. So then they start thinking, okay, well, if you're more looking for a long-term visionary person, that's where they'll target the 30 to 60-year-old bucket. So again, there's demographics around all this, and I'm just touching on the top piece of this, but from a demographic standpoint, this is kind of some of the key things that I would target if I was focusing on these people. 60 plus, I consider high risk. Again, the reason on that is they lack any IT knowledge. Now, most of us, things are changing so fast that we all struggle with it. But this group in the 60 plus, they really lack it, and they don't quite understand it. And so therefore, they are ripe to be getting taken advantage of by people. There's fear, insecurity, doubt. We call it FUD, right? That's not insecurity. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt is FUD. Fear, insecurity, intimidation is another one, right? They get intimidated by other people just saying, hey, you're going to get evicted if you don't pay this. The IRS is after you if you don't pay this. Well, older people, they're going, oh, crap, I've worked my whole life for this mess. I don't want the IRS to take it away. Well, we all know that that's not as simple as that. They can do that, but it's not as simple as just that. And you're not going to get it through an email. So these people are easily targeted on these situations, especially dealing with medical. Their information about their medical is going to get out there, or the fact that they have a lot of medical needs, and so therefore they're a higher target. And banking as well, just because if they are doing some online banking, which many of them are starting to move into this space because they actually are getting pretty interactive on social media, then all of a sudden now they become vulnerable because of that. So again, you've got your young people, your 20, 30-somethings, your 30 to 60-year-old bucket, and then your 60-plus, your high-risk folks. So the high risk in my mind are your really young people and your super old people. I say super old because I'm not that far away from super old, but that's all right. You know what? You're only as old as you think you are. So those are the kind of the different buckets that I see this in. So why social media? Well, Facebook has over 1 billion plus people. It's in almost all aspects of your life, and it's immediate interaction. I mean, it's over 1 billion people. It's amazing. They got video, they got live streaming, they got, you name it, it's on there. So your whole life, a window to your life, which we normally never ever had, you can now give it. So you have to decide, is that something you really want to do? So what should you do right now to protect yourself around social engineering on social media? Well, you don't click or respond unless you were the person reaching out. So if someone just goes, hey, I want to be your friend, I want you to know who I am. If you don't know who they are, don't accept it. I mean, now, will I say that I've always done that? No. There's been times when I accepted somebody and went, oh, crud, I didn't really know that person. So I've done that. But in most cases, try not to do that if you can avoid it, right? Google or search the internet about a request. You know, in the case of they offering you a free gift or something like that, Google it, see what they say, because odds are high you'll find out if you're getting hit with something that you feel is suspicious, somebody out there in the world has done the same thing. So it'd be out there. Limit any personal information on social networks: date of birth, first name, kids' names, where you went to school in 1980, if you were even born, those kind of things. The whole point of that is because that stuff can be used against you to target you, and also many people use these things in their passwords, which please don't do. So don't put any of that stuff on social network if you can avoid it. Parents, guardians, routinely check your kids' activities online. It's really important. You got to watch out who's becoming friends of your children. I've seen this happen where people of my kids have posted stuff online, and we don't really let them do much of it until they get to be a bit older. But even my older child has done stuff, and I went, what are you doing, young man? So yeah, they do those things. So it's just good to be friends of them so that you can see what they actually post. Then again, maybe you don't want to know what they actually post once they get to be older. But those are things to think about. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you and give you some direction and guidance on that.